Peace family, Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen and your intergalactic interpreter, and we are here today for a pick a card reading for the Lionsgate portal. Now, I am recording this in 2024, but whenever your eyes cross this video, it's for you. There might be a message in here that pertains to you that you need to hear, and I just want to say also, welcome to the Aetherium. This is my spiritual sanctuary where I am pioneering the spiritual practice of cosmic wellness, which contextualizes our place in the universe so that we can have a better understanding of who we are, because the main thing that we are doing here in this practice is knowing ourselves. I come from multiple lines of indigenous mysticism and esoterics on both sides of my family, and in my indigenous ancestral spirituality, knowing oneself is the foundation of everything that you are doing on the planet Earth. So that is what we are centered on here. We do a lot of focus on shadow work, and my specific shadow work practice that I am pioneering is called spiritual abolition, which really finds itself in decolonization work so that we can get rid of anything that isn't ours and make more room for our co-creations. Some people use the language of manifestation when they're talking about co-creation. I use co-creation because I think that the language of manifestation can be a little bit confusing, if you will. I think that it's very loaded and convoluted. So we use the language of co-creation here, and if that all sounds aligned for you, I am super glad that you are here and that you have found us. If that all sounds aligned for you, I'm super glad that you are here and that you have found us, and I invite you to become a part of this family. All you got to do is be yourself, really, and resonate with what's going on here. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, and definitely share with people that you think would benefit from receiving this knowledge. So without much further ado, I don't know if I mentioned, yes, this is a pick a card, but it's also a mukbang. So I got these white truffle chips by 𝗂𝗵𝗄𝗃, my Pote, my potato chips. I got these super lemon candies, 𝗂𝗵𝗱𝗁. They have super lemon candy on the inside, apparently, mild lemon candy on the outside, and lemon taste powder. I guess it's like coated in a lemon taste powder. I cut my finger while I was doing my makeup. I told y'all I can really clean up nicely when I actually make the effort, but it takes a lot of time and energy. And back when we were masking, I did not like getting makeup and lip gloss especially on my mask, and that is how I ended up getting like very into doing just like bare minimum, like very minimalist, not even makeup. I really got into skincare at that time. So I do feel like there's going to be stuff coming up about 2020, so let's see what happens. I have these steak flavored chips by 𝗂𝗃, I guess. I have this this is a sparkling peach water, 𝗪𝗪𝗪 soft drink. It's a peach cider. So I'm really excited to try this. Y'all have no idea how long I have been like holding on to these snacks so that I could like do this, because I have wanted to snack on them so badly. And I have this matcha love energy drink. It's Japanese matcha and green tea. It is unsweetened because I don't really like matcha when it is sweetened so much. I'm actually much more of a like unsweetened person. Thankfully, I've actually been doing like a lot of work to like break away from my sweets addiction, because I do think that like a lot of us have that, especially in the States. because there are a lot of things that are in American processed food that is not allowed in like food in other countries, even in countries in Europe. So yeah, if you like go to London, you see these like sweet shops that are like American sweet shops, because people get super excited about being able to get like American sweets, because American sweets taste different and they think taste better, but it's really just because like it has so much more sugar in it. Already my throat chakra is like a little itchy, so I'm gonna try the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝘁 soft drink. It's a peach cider. I'm gonna try it first. It's so cute. Ooh. It's like bubbling up there. It's actually clear, which I think is great, because it's like, if it's not actually colorful, then I don't want it to be colorful, you know? That's just more chemicals in my body, but let's see how this goes. Very effervescent, very springy, and very peachy. It is a white peach, I'm assuming. It's really good, actually. Definitely not something that I can drink all the time, because I don't like the feeling of sugar on my teeth. So I will definitely be brushing my teeth after this, but this is really good. And I do think, like, I don't generally drink soft drinks, but I do think that like this, it's only 122 calories as well, but it is 30 grams total sugar, which is a lot of sugar. I don't usually drink soft drinks because of the sugar content, but when I do, I think this is the kind that I would drink just because it seems less problematic than like regular soft drinks. I'm gonna put that to the side. This I'm actually really excited about, and trigger warning, sorry if you're like not into talk about calories and stuff, but I'm very mindful of my nutrition, so I do think about those kinds of things, because if it has like crazy amounts of sugar, I'm not gonna consume it. And that is one thing that has been like coming up for a lot of spiritualists, I have noticed, is that like a lot of talk about you know, taking care of our physical bodies. Right now, I am sensing that there's a lot of like energy that is being released, and it is a lot of like low vibrational, dense, sick, carcinogenic energies that are being released. Trauma is being released from the body at this point in time. If you are really struggling with feelings of like just memories and like trauma stuff coming up and like surfacing within your body and within your mind, I would recommend to you to do spiritual baths. I would recommend to you also to do grounding meditation. I would recommend to you, like, when you are laying flat, like, just imagine yourself against the earth or lay flat on the ground and just be like, yes, I release this. Yes, I release this as it's releasing. Here in New York, it's been like raining a lot, and I do think like there's just a lot of energy that's purging right now. So this is matcha love. We're gonna see. Ooh, I didn't shake it. Oh no. It's too late now. I already opened it. It's too late to shake it. Okay, whatever. Let's just see, because I used to work at America's first all matcha cafe, and I just have very high standards for matcha. Like, so if it is like not a very bright, potent green, I'm not interested, because I already know that the flavor is going to be trash. And that's also actually very important, because I have noticed like higher lower quality matcha gives me a headache. It doesn't give me clean energy. It doesn't give me like the kind of clean caffeine ride that good quality, premium quality matcha gives. And so especially if you're going to a place that like is charging a lot for matcha, and like if you see the powder and it's not bright green, like honestly I would say if it's not this color, then like that is not good quality matcha, and you should not be paying top dollar for that. If it's like a dingy sort of green, I mean, even this kind of just like very bright, like very popping green, it should look like it should look fake, honestly, the color of how bright green it should be. If it is a dullish, like brownish green, that is not good quality matcha, and you should not be drinking that. That usually is culinary grade matcha. And if you are going to be having like proper matcha, you should be using ceremonial grade matcha, especially if you're using it to have more clean energy. So let's see. Already I can see like inside of the can is not like, it's not very bright green. It's like pretty dingy, so we'll see. It's a green tea blend with real matcha, but whatever quality matcha, it doesn't say. Yeah, it doesn't say, but at least it has purified water. Let's see. Yeah, it's like, first of all, it's probably like mainly green tea, but it's not great quality matcha. I can already tell you that much. Like, but I do love that it's like this tiny little can. It's 5.2 fluid ounces, 155 milliliters. And I will also say, like, right now it is Mercury retrograde, and with this I thought I like missed an appointment today. I was like looking at my calendar. I was like, oh my god. But with this Mercury retrograde, it is starting in the sign of Virgo, and Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. It will be retrograding back into the sign of Leo some point next week. Oh, goodness. So on the 15th, exactly a week after the Lionsgate portal, Mercury will be retrograding back into the sign of Leo in the 3rd house. That is significant information. You should always be cognizant of what house a planet is in when it starts its cycle. So with it being in the 3rd house, the 3rd house relates to Gemini, and it is also ruled by Mercury. And this is giving us an opportunity to really just investigate our habits and patterns as it relates to our interpersonal relationships, specifically our social relationships. This also has to do with siblings. It also has to do with cousins. And in those kinds of ways, it kind of has to do with childhood as well, but it really does have to do mainly, I would say, with the community of origin. And this is an opportunity for us to disabuse ourselves of the programming and the ideations, the cultural norms that were instilled upon us by social programming that are not helping us anymore, that are no longer serving us. You know what I mean? And so with this Mercury retrograde, like, you can best believe that there are going to be a lot of relationships that are simply going to be coming to an end. And frankly, these relationships are past their expiration date. They're past their due date. And you would really be wise to do your best to let go with grace. Be cognizant of who is actually worth trying to have like a conversation with, trying to connect with, and who is not, because a lot of people, they're going to say or do whatever they can to get you to stay in their orbit. They are desperate. There's a lot of desperation in the collective right now, in the general populace, because, and in the aggregate, as we might say. I refer to those of us who are supernatural in any way as outliers. So whether you identify as a star seed, an earth seed, a witch, an earth angel, deity, whatever, what have you, I refer to us as outliers, empath, whatever, you know, if you have psychic abilities. And the aggregate I also refer to as mundanes. Those are people who are just like regular humans. And so those people, a lot of them, they're experiencing the same kind of purging that we are. Like, the planet is going through this, so it's not just us alone. I'm going to turn the air conditioning off, actually. Heard a, what's it called, a motorcycle. Anyway, so yeah, I refer to them as the aggregate, and the whole planet is going through this, so it's not just like me or you, it's like all of us, right? And if you want to accept this energy work, I invite you to go ahead and do that. And we are going to do some energy work before we get into the piles. So let's continue talking about like this general energy. And I would also recommend you all to cleanse your space, like cleanse the energy of your space, because there are low vibrational densities is what I'm picking up. You need to clean it off of you, and you need to clean it out of your space, because we are going through the looking glass. Like, I've talked about this before, and okay, so we're definitely clearing sacral chakra and root chakra attacks that have been keeping you from being in your power with your solar plexus. Because this is the 8/8 Lionsgate portal, we had to go through a lot of that clearing and clarification, and that's what planetarily, that's what we're going through. You know what I mean? As we make this connection with Orion. And yeah, so a lot of people are not handling it well because they don't have the tools. Oh, we have a fly. Do note that you might be being surveilled if that is the case, and you also just want to be cognizant and conscientious about monitoring spirits. So I'm going to use some frequencies. I'm going to put them on relatively quietly. Yeah, I'm going to use some frequencies so that we can be in this like energetic cleansing together. I want to say that, like, if you feel like you are being surveilled, if you feel like you are being monitored, you are being stalked by someone, don't just like remove cords with them and protect yourself against them. Do that with their entire collective, because otherwise it's just going to keep coming back. If this is a karmic energy, it's going to keep coming back. And if you identify as an earth angel and you are somebody who is being like constantly harassed and like bothered by these like shaitanic energies manifesting themselves in like body after body after body and relationship after relationship after relationship, I'm really recommending to you to Yeah, cleanse your energy, purify your energy, remove cords, and realize that you are dealing with powers and principalities. You are not just dealing with one person who's a problem. You're dealing with a collective. And that means that the oversoul of that collective, for whatever reason, is attempting to prey upon you, is attempting to attack you. Especially if you identify as an earth angel, especially if you're high ranking, if you're the oversoul of your collective, that'll be why, and they will be attacking your collective. So it is very important that you are doing what you have to do to support yourself and your collective. If you are part of a collective, I would just really, honestly, I would pray to your higher self and your great gods, guides, and ancestors and ask for help. I think everybody would do well to be doing that at this time. I'm gonna drink some more of this matcha love. Yeah, I definitely should have shaken it up more. I'm gonna just get into it. And I think that, let's do some declarations of sovereignty, and then to set the tone for the space, and then we will do a little energy work, and we will get into the readings. I might talk a little bit more about the general energy, but I think I want to just talk about that in the readings to just make sure that we are staying on topic. And so what I'm going to be asking the cards is like what we need to know, what we're letting go, what's coming in, how can we be of service to these changes, and what are our blessings. If that sounds like it's of interest to you, stick around, and you can choose whichever pile if you don't want to stick around for the energy work and the declarations of sovereignty. But we're going to do that because I like to set the tone for this space by speaking this out loud, and you can just choose if you're going to accept this. Just say yes, and it will be for you as well. I emit a divine frequency of protection and purification that should any unwanted, uninvited, unwelcome, uninitiated energy, entity, or expression of existence attempt to engage with me, especially without my explicit consent, it is immediately eviscerated upon impact, returned to its divine essential state, and reintegrated into source. I release this. I call upon my great gods, guides, and ancestors, and those of the land upon which I am inhabiting. I call in the support of the 𝗕𝗏𝗍𝗪 collective, the Sodom's Apple collective, the crystalline collectives of the black tourmaline, jet, jade, jadeite, onyx, obsidian, selenite, opal, opalite, 𝗬𝗓𝗍𝗫, amethyst, black opal, gold, platinum, diamond, amethyst, rose quartz, and crystal quartz collectives. The sacred lions, tigers, bears, eagles, vultures, hawks, falcons, megalodons, sharks, turtles, whales, dolphins, dragons, unicorns, big cats, jaguars, leopards, pumas, foxes, phoenixes, wolves, and elementals, as well as the condors, the snakes, and the serpentine crystalline. I call you in and ask for your divine wisdom, protection, grace, equanimity, companionship, support, love, kindness, and guidance, as well as your aid in liberating me and from any and all agents of my destruction through all realms of quantum space-time. Escort me through my journey that I may have a safe and serene experience. In this very instant, in all of quantum space-time and in all directions, dimensions, and densities, and in all quantum timelines, holistically and completely, I make these declarations, which are self-evident in the name of the Most High Divine Creator, now, forever, and always. I render any and all energies, entities, and expressions of existence with malicious intent against me, whether they be unwanted, unwelcome, uninvited, unintended, and or unwarranted or not, deaf, blind, dumb, mute, paralyzed, impotent, castrated, powerless, and in a complete vegetative state permanently. I refuse, release, reject, and rebuke any and all unwanted, uninvited, unwelcome, and or unwarranted aberrations, distortions, abominations, invitations, and solicitations to dysfunction and destruction presented to me and my collective. I hereby permanently revoke, remove, shut down, and seal any and all access to all of my energy and all of my power, to any and all energies, entities, and expressions of existence who are not me, the Most High Divine Creator, and or the Holy Spirit. I release, dissolve, disintegrate, and completely destroy any and all connections, tethers, relations, ties, binds, combinations, amalgamations, enmeshments, and anything of the like connecting me and my collective to any and all energy not serving my most divine benefit and the most divine benefit of all. I call all of my power and all of my energy back to me and purify it in the Holy Spirit across all of quantum space-time. I declare my divine, sacred, holy sovereignty over my spirit, my mind, my energy, my emotions, my actions, my communications, my expressions, my thoughts, my feelings, and my vessel. I make all of these declarations inside, outside, and across all of quantum space-time and in all directions, dimensions, and densities, and in all quantum timelines holistically and completely in the name of the Most High Divine Creator, now, forever, and always. I seal my energy and my aura, grounding it in my sacred body, which is grounded in the Holy Spirit on a foundation of Christ. So have I spoken, so shall it be, and so it is. Okay, so now that we are grounded in our sovereignty, let's get into some energy work. I feel like something big is coming with this full moon in the 12th house, the full moon in Aquarius in the 12th house, opposing the sun in Leo in the 6th house. And that day is the 19th of August. We have the sun. We actually have a 𝗪𝗁𝘁, the sun in Leo in the 3rd house will be conjunct Mercury in Leo in the 3rd house, and Mercury will be retrograde. Okay, so this is a big deal. This is a purification, really, of these relationships. So if you have these toxic relationships that have been like trying to glom onto you, they've sunk in their claws and they're just trying to like refuse to let go, this is going to be purified at the on the 19th with this full moon in Aquarius. We also have Venus in Virgo square Jupiter in Gemini. It will also be at some point opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces. The sun will be square Uranus in Pisces, which is a big deal because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and Jupiter in Gemini will be square Saturn retrograde in Pisces. This is also a really big deal because these are the they're transpersonal placements, but we call these the social planets because Jupiter, the gas giant, is seen as being like the social outgoing planet, whereas the sun is more, Saturn is more seen as being like restrictive and like insular, and that's not necessarily true. Jupiter just happens to be masculine and Saturn happens to be feminine, and Jupiter is more so like the father energy, where Saturn is more so the divine mother energy. And the fact that people have so demonized Saturn goes to show so much about the demonization of the feminine and cis-heteropatriarchy. So if you're new here and you don't know, what I used to refer to in my workshops and in this particular praxis and framework as the 5 pillars of colonialism, which is something that it is something that I formulated based off of the teachings of Andrea Smith, and I might go ahead and link below the scholarly article where she talks about the 3 pillars of, I believe she was talking about cis-heteropatriarchy. I don't remember exactly what she was talking about. This is something that I read when I was studying sociology, and it helped me to develop these 5 pillars of colonialism, which I see as being an inverted pentacle. But I now refer to them as the 5 pillars of the demonic shadow empire. This is imperialism, first and foremost, and colonialism is secondary to it. And the demonic shadow empire is, it's present planetarily. If you're into the galactic stuff, which if you're not, maybe this is not the right video for you, but maybe if you stick around, you might learn something that is helpful for you expanding your consciousness. So, the 5 pillars of the demonic shadow empire, as I refer to them, include in this order, aspiritualism, cis-heteropatriarchy, anti-indigeneity, anti-blackness, racism, and white domination, or white domination and racism, capitalism, and industrialism. And from top to bottom, this disconnects us from one another and disconnects us from a power greater than ourselves, the spiritual reality of existence, therefore enabling us to be disconnected from one another and ultimately disconnected from the planet. And this is a tactic used to destabilize us so that we will not be able to work together to, have sovereignty and to protect ourselves and one another against agents of destruction and enslavement, because the demonic shadow empire is one of enslavement and exploitation and destruction, unsacred destruction. And it is basically an agenda to sap us of all of our value, all of our energy, all of our power as a battery, and essentially just deplete us of all of our nutrients, and then leave this basically barren carcass. And so to do this, obviously they have to attack the feminine, and they have done that by demonizing Saturn. Saturn as the divine mother, the dragon body, which is represented in mountains specifically. I can't speak to that right now. They don't want me to talk about that. Maybe if I make an extended, I will talk about that. But basically demonizing everything associated with Saturn, demonizing discipline, essentially demonizing karma. And it's like, people will be like, oh, karma's a bitch. Karma's only a bitch if you are. If you don't go around causing harm, like, yes, everybody has free will, but it's less likely that you will find yourself in harmful experiences. If you are self-sabotaging by going around being rude to people, stealing from people, lying, like harming others, that is the energy that you are cultivating in your electromagnetic field, and that is all that you will attract, is that same kind of energy, even if it looks different on the outside, because that's just how physics works. okay? If it's not in resonance, it cannot be around you. This is important information to understand because some of us are really rising at a rapid progression and a rapid rate to break through. Like, we are vibrating so hard to break through the threshold that is this 8/8 portal, and that's why we've been purging rapidly. Like, literally so many of us have been, you know, purging lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of karma that isn't even ours, because it's lifetimes. It's like from, yeah, maybe past lives, but mainly I would say it is from it's from you know, whatever bloodline or community you may have incarnated into, so that you could transmute that karma and liberate that bloodline as best you can. So right now, a lot of the a lot of those of us who have been stuck in lower vibrations due to karmic consequences, a lot of the chosen ones of your lineages, when I say chosen one, you are chosen in your lineage. And that is why you get the special support from your ancestors who want to liberate the bloodline. Usually this is because they recognize that they caused harm, and this is the best way for them to mitigate what happened due to their actions and to liberate themselves. So, you know, a lot of us are being helped by our ancestors, and a lot of us, you have to be very high ranking. Understand, if you identify as an earth angel, and this is actually all in my premium Substack membership called The Mysteries on Substack, and the link is definitely down in the description for you to subscribe if you'd like to. All of the month of July was free, so you can go and read those newsletters to see if it's something that resonates for you, and then you can subscribe. Once you subscribe, you will have a backlog of all of the paid newsletters for you to go through, and also you can do a 7-day free membership. I would recommend, if you're gonna do that, do it like after this coming Sunday, or do it this coming Sunday, because then you will get this upcoming newsletter, and you'll be able to see the last newsletter, which has really amazing information. Or actually, if you're watching this when I post it, you can subscribe today and then you can see everything that I wrote about for the 8/8 portal, and then you'll be able to get the one that's coming out on this coming Sunday for free. But yeah, there's a lot of really amazing esoteric information that I channel into those mystery newsletters, outside of doing the weekly astrology and the monthly astrology. If you just want to do the free membership, you do get not as in-depth insights for the month, but I do do a brief summary of the astrology and the energy for the month at the top of every month, if this is something that is outside of your budget right now. So that's just something to consider. And also, if you purchase a subscription, you get 2 months free if you pay for the whole year, versus if you pay by month. It's $11.11 a month, but if you pay for the whole year, it's $111.11 for the whole year. We also have a founders membership, and you get to set how much you're gonna pay. But there are a lot of really amazing benefits to that, including like free oracle healing sessions with me. So go ahead and read more about that. I'm not gonna bore you with those details any further, but I did want to bring that up just because there is actually like a lot of information that I'm not going to speak about in this reading, because I spoke about it in the channeling. But so a lot of us are like moving at a lightning pace to break through the threshold, the Piscean threshold. And we've been being purified. So if you have been feeling particularly anxious and you don't understand why, your body might feel crazy, you feel tired, you feel like hungry, but like you might be like fasting inadvertently, that is because you are going through a purification. And this isn't just like the earth is going through this cycle and the sun is also going through this cycle. If you're someone who's like skeptical, you need to know that actually the sun does go through these through an active period and a more dormant period. And right now we are in the active period of the sun. That is a 3-year period where the sun is just like shooting off solar flares, like it's doing a lot of action, and these solar flares are contributing to what is happening here on Earth. Obviously, this does contribute to why the weather has been the way that it has been throughout the past summer. A lot of people have been like, why is it so hot? Why is it so stormy? Just like in general, you should know that like it is the sun, and it being in its active period is going to have a big effect. If you are somebody who monitors the Schumann resonance, you have seen the correlation between the Schumann resonance of the planet Earth as it correlates to the blasts from the sun. And something that is really important, if you follow me on Instagram at the Aetherium, I haven't been active in probably a year just because like I've had other things that I've been focusing on, and I've really been trying to figure out like how I want to use this platform. I'm not eating the snacks just right now because like I want to like get through what I'm saying and do the energy work before I eat the snacks, because I don't want you guys to be like watching me eat and like chew things. But you know what, let's no, I want the energy to come through me nice and pure and not tainted by the snacks. So we'll do that after we do the energy work, and I will talk about the things that came up as we're doing the energy work. But I will say this much, as we've been being purified, you may have found like you can't eat these kinds of things because yeah, we're going through this cycle, and any celestial is more powerful than you. If you don't believe in a power greater than yourself, you are literally delusional and illogical, because scientifically the planet has its own consciousness. We understand that it is alive. That's why plants are alive, you know. And the sun is more powerful than you. Without the planet Earth, without the sun, you would not exist, period. You wouldn't. Those are powers greater than you. What is happening on the Earth affects your human body because your human body is made out of the Earth. It comes from the Earth. We have a little earthling spaceship that is our body that allows us to live on planet Earth as an extension of it. But that all being said, like the destruction that's happening on the Earth isn't going to be allowed to happen, not because of like off-world extraterrestrials stopping it. The Earth's not going to let it happen. Do you see what's going on the Earth? You see all these natural disasters? The Earth is still going to be here. Humans might not be. So I was saying about like my Instagram, if you go on the Aetherium and click prophecies, go read through the prophecies. I don't know, I keep forgetting what that thing is called, like where you keep collections of your stories. I don't remember what that's called. But I would encourage you to go read the prophecy that I have on there, because it's really, I actually might post it on here as well. But it's a lot of like what we're talking about. And as we go through this portal, the old Earth is finally going to fall into collapse. The only reason that it hasn't happened yet is because we were still inside. And as we move out as we finally get through the portal, as we finally get through the threshold, you're gonna see it collapse rapidly. This is especially going to be true because in September, we have the South Node conjunct Lilith in the beginning of September. Is it the end of August? Yes, it's the 31st of August. We have Lilith and South Node conjunct in the sign of Libra, and then we will have Venus conjunct them on the 4th of September. Venus will be conjunct Lilith and the South Node, which means that it will be opposing the North Node at 2119, that's 9:19 Greenwich Mean Time. So do the math for whatever time zone you are in. And we will also have the moon joining them there, the moon will be entering the sign of Libra on the 4th. So between the 5th and the 6th, all of the feminine luminaries will be conjunct Lilith, dark moon Lilith, and the south node in the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And this is all happening the day after, or around, because the new moon in Virgo is going to be on the 3rd. And that means that the sun and the moon will be conjunct in the 3rd house. Okay, this is a complete revitalization, and this is the ascent of the divine feminine that we have been talking about. And many of us have had to go into the old earth paradigm, had to go into literal hell to rescue the divine feminine from these energies and entities, which usually meant like doing shadow work on ourselves. Like, it meant going back into our own personal like childhoods and rescuing ourselves, the divinity in ourselves, and especially the divine feminine. And when we rescue the divine feminine, then we can rescue the divine masculine. That is how it goes, because obviously like humans are born out of a womb, okay? And yeah, so do note that in this practice, any body, literal body, can engender all of the energies across the spectrum, and we all do at any given point in time. This is a regular thing that we talk about here in the Aetherium, but yeah, I'm just hoping that people will get that and I won't have to like explain that all the time, because it gets very annoying and frustrating to have to explain very simple basic things constantly. But the more that you stick around and watch the lives and watch the readings, the more that you will familiarize yourself with the Aetherium teachings and principles and practices. So yeah, go ahead and watch whatever feels resonant at any given moment. But this is going to be the return of the divine feminine at this time. I foresee a complete and utter collapse of the old earth paradigm. And yeah, don't fret if this happens, because likely if you are drawn to this video, you are somebody who's probably like entering into new earth, has entered into new earth. You're most likely an outlier, earth angel, you know, one of the higher vibrational entities, consciousness of your bloodline that has come down the mortal coil in order to do this work. Some of us had to be extremely high ranking to go in and do the work in our bloodlines, because so many bloodlines are fallen. And this is the restoration of those bloodlines. So if you have been in like serious karmic debt because of your lineage, this is absolution. I'm so excited for those of us who've been experiencing that. And I just encourage you to like hold on to your hat, because we are hitting this portal at lightning speed, so that we can burst free. I talked about this last week, about how we have to be like vibrating. I think it was in the video about a higher up abusing their power. And I mean, that can really relate to anybody, you know what I mean? Because everybody, abuse of power comes as no surprise, right? So right now, I do feel like a lot of us are experiencing people around us attempting to abuse their power, whatever power they feel they have over us. And it is actually, you know, it can be very frustrating, but honestly, it is an opportunity for you to call your power back to you, and for you to just reinstitute your sovereignty over yourself. You know what I mean? Like, nobody is sovereign over you. You are the sovereign, and your higher self, which grows and grows in consciousness as it ascends and reconnects to the all that is source. Ultimately, all of our higher self is the most high divine creator. And that's why some people, you know, really have to have a lot of control, or feel like they have a lot of control, and they have to be like, my higher self is my God, or whatever, like I'm God. And it's like, yeah, we all are, of our own lives. And still, there is a consciousness that is unknowable by us incarnate, and that is all of our higher self. So I really think that it's important to understand that. To have Saturn and Neptune retrograde in the sign of Pisces, when we start with the chart that I'm looking at, I'm using Greenwich Mean Time 00, the 8th of August, 2024. And I am using the whole sign house system and tropical astrology. With that being said, the Piscean degrees, especially in the early end of Pisces, has to do with justice and divine justice. So we have been in the time of judgment, and now we're entering into the time of justice. It's all justice, but we're entering into yeah, I mean, like I said, people are not going to be able to escape their fate in the times to come. And don't be afraid, because if you're listening to your intuition, if you're listening to your spirit team, you will be guided exactly where you need to go and exactly what you need to do. Don't feel like you haven't been doing it. If you have been following guidance, if you have been, surrendering, if you've been open and willing to do anything that you were asked to do, but you just haven't had much to do in your eyes through productivity culture, you haven't had that much to do, it's because you've been being supposed to rest, because you have been purging and doing shadow work. You have to understand, if we believe that we are at war, spiritual warfare, this is every single day we are battling this war. And for you to not collapse into the old bones, let's say, the old paradigm of the demonic shadow empire indoctrination, which is a paradigm of abuse, desecration, and perversion. If you have been doing your best to live an earth integrated life, a loving life, a healthy life, then you are operating against the system in all that you do. And that is exhausting, to constantly be fighting uphill, to refuse to engage. In the declarations of sovereignty, I say, I release, dissolve, disintegrate, or actually, sorry, where is it? I refuse, release, reject, and rebuke any and all unwanted, uninvited, unwelcome, and or unwarranted aberrations, distortions, abominations, invitations, and solicitations to dysfunction and destruction presented to me and my collective. Understand, we're not here for dysfunction. We're not here for destruction, disastrous behavior, chaos, unnecessary conflict. We're not here for that. And so, in mainstream culture right now, at least in the West, what I see is people constantly glorifying this kind of toxic behavior. Oh, being petty is seen as being it's seen as being cool, being aloof and being disingenuous and being nonchalant is seen as being cool. And it's grow up. Also, what do you think that do you really think that that's helping you to achieve what you want? If what you want is love, true love, do you think pretending that you don't even like the person that you like is going to help you to get true love? No, that's counterintuitive and counterproductive. And frankly, it's stupid. And you're not stupid. You're not stupid. So don't be engendering stupidity, because it's only going to cause more stupid situations in your life. Do things that make sense. Be honest and real about what you like and what you love and what you want and what you don't want. This has to do with Libra. This has to do with the 7th house. This has to do with the 2nd house. And it has to do with Venus. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. It has to do with Pisces for that reason. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. We have to be willing to do what it is to get to the divine resonance. And those of us who've been doing that are coming out on the other side. But those of us who haven't been doing that, a lot of folks have lost rank. I have a reading where I prophesied about that, rather. It's not a reading, it was a channeled message, where I prophesied about people losing rank as far back as like May. Okay, so you gotta understand, dude, like, you can't just be doing destructive behaviors and disrespect, dishonoring yourself and actively pushing away like your best life and think that you're gonna experience your best life. That doesn't make any sense. You're just prolonging your suffering by doing that. And those of us who've been like fighting against the onslaught of that destructive indoctrination programming that is endemic to the demonic shadow empire, we are reclaiming our power, and it is exhausting work. Doing shadow work is exhausting, and it can feel debilitating and crippling, right? So I just want you to understand that it's so real. It's so real that you would feel tired and exhausted, and you might think that you're not doing enough, but you're doing a lot in the unseen realms. Not everything has to happen in the 3D. True master co-creators, true masters of quote unquote manifestation understand that the real work is in the unseen. And if you think that like doing stuff in the material realm like will make you a master of manifestation, you have a lot to learn. And that is what I see. That's why I don't consider myself a part of the manifestation community, law of attraction community, because those people, like, you're still laboring under the principles of Hermeticism, which are the 7 veils. They are keeping you from interacting with the infinite, because the material, those may be the governing principles of the material world, but they're not the governing principles of the infinite, which includes the spiritual world, the spiritual life, which is the foundation of all that is. It must be lived. It is not a theory. And if you're going to pretend that you're spiritual, or you know that you have a spiritual calling and destiny and you're not living in that, don't expect your life to be good. You know what I mean? And those folks who are, more power to you. I do feel you coming into alignment with the life that you have been cultivating and co-creating for yourself. And I really want to commend you on those practices. I'm going to drink a little bit more of this because this kind of dehydrated me, as you can imagine. And this isn't going to hydrate me, but it's going to actually, yeah. I'm going to drink water for that reason. I'm going to drink water. The matcha love was actually like relatively inexpensive, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it was it was less than $2, I'm pretty sure. And I would say that, you know, I usually buy like, because I broke my French press, it's a little individual French press, I've just been buying this iced coffee cold brew because this one's relatively inexpensive and it's a pretty good quality. I like what I've seen of the ethics of the company, but I would much rather be using my French press, if I'm being honest. Having cold beverages, especially as soon as you start the day, is not good for you. But I would actually recommend something like this more than I would recommend iced coffee, because the green energy just metabolizes a lot better. This is something that I know from my my time as a barista, specifically at that matcha company. So we're gonna try the super lemon now, because I feel like it's gonna help me to just ground back into my body. I think that it's like sour. It's interesting that they call it super lemon, and I wonder if that is like, yeah, I think that like with the citric acid and ascorbic acid, I think it's probably sour. But it doesn't say sour anywhere on the packaging. It just says super lemon, and it comes in a little package like this. Okay, so yeah, it has like what I'm assuming is probably sour powder on the outside, but it might not be. I'm gonna let y'all know. And this is what it looks like. It's like no bigger than the tip of my thumb. really sour. This is really, really sour, actually. I knew it would be. It doesn't say anything about that on the packaging, but the packaging is also mainly in Japanese. And while they do like put in English on this sticker, there's, and like obviously this is all in English, like this stuff, this information is not in English, so I don't know, it could say sour, but in a way I kind of wonder if like by sour they mean like super, they mean sour. Then it gets to like a really basic like lemony flavor. Does anyone else kind of feel like lemon associated with Pisces? And I also feel like butterfly pea lemonade. It just seems like very Piscean. I'm gonna write that down. So as I'm sucking on this, and I will say I just like went to the restroom because I didn't want you guys just like watching me like suck on this candy. But as I'm sucking on it, it is getting like more sour as I get closer to the center. I'm just using some black pepper essential oil on my hands. So I washed them, mixed with jojoba oil, and I'm putting it on my body. And I'm also sending you this purification energy. I do feel like slicing my finger on a mirror is like the blood price to pay. Not everybody, his family like has done blood magic, but those of you who have, I think that like some of us do have to pay a blood price. But also just know that if you are like super high ranking, like it makes sense if you've had a really fucked up life because you've had harder battles to fight than people who are just like lower ranking or mundane, you know? So like if someone's like, oh my God, like if you just don't compare and contrast, like, and as people say, compare and despair, because like you're on a completely different journey, and the fact that you are even still alive, like I have to go ahead and like commend, because it is not easy. I'm gonna bite into it. Kind of hard to bite into. There's nothing happening on the inside. But it does get more sour as you get closer to the center. I thought that it might have powder on the inside because there's this really amazing Russian candy I absolutely adore. That is like, it's a hard candy on the outside and it's lemon, orange, and lime. And on the inside, it's like a hard candy on the outside and it's just like regular sweet. And then on the inside, it is like, it has this like white powder that like fizzes up once it hits your tongue, and it's so fun. I love Russian candy. There's so many good Russian candies. Like, I just fucking love Russian candy. I might, maybe I'll do a mukbang for the European food store next. But yeah, now what you might be dealing with, memories, repressed memories coming up as you get clarification around the seed point of destruction that has been within you and within your lineage, your bloodline, your collective perhaps. Yeah. you might be clarifying a lot. I think that everybody would do well to learn about the colonial legacy, specifically of Rome and the Roman Empire, and then the Holy Roman Empire, as that pertains first to Europe, the tribes of Europe, and then the imperial colonial legacy around the rest of the world. Because if you think that you don't have trauma, like, just one thing that I've noticed is a lot of like first generation Americans and immigrants, people of immigrant experience that I know, specifically of color people, but it is also people of European descent as well. A lot of us experienced the same kinds of punishment. I had a friend who is Bengali, and she told me that like she experienced a punishment where like you had to like sit on your knees on grains of rice. And I know in my country of origin that is a punishment that people have as well. And that is when I realized that like it's not just because people had the same creative idea to like torture other people in that way. It's because of colonialism they learned these kinds of punishments. The missionaries at missionary boarding schools would punish the children. They would essentially, trigger warning, they would essentially torture children into succumbing to colonial ideation. And the less indigenous you were, the more you would be rewarded. So if you were not the perfect little colonizer to go and spread your colonial indoctrination throughout the rest of the country of that like you might be from, they beat you, they do all kinds of things. My mom and my aunts went to missionary boarding school, and my mom hates talking about her childhood, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that like she experienced a lot of corporal punishment at her boarding school. And remember, this is a time where if kids were not perfectly well behaved in this like manner of decorum, there wasn't any idea like, oh, that kid has ADD or ADHD, or that kid has autism or anything like that. Like they just were like, that kid is bad, and they just like would physically punish you and beat your individuality out of you, and also your 𝗲𝗄𝗏𝗍, essentially breaking your spirit, like how you might break a horse or break a dog, domestication of dogs. Yeah, like how they clip the tails of pit bulls, or like how they clip the ears of, I don't think it's pit bulls, but I think it might be Dobermans. They clip the tails of Dobermans. And I think they clip the tails and or ears of pit bulls as well. You know what I mean? Like that is the kind of stuff that they literally, like, over the course of millennia, learned how to traumatize the human body into perpetuating colonialism and abuse. And people replicate that abuse because, one, they think it's normal. You know what I mean? And even when they realize that it's not normal, a lot of the time they just keep doing it because they are so messed up. When you're a kid, you might not realize that it's normal, but when you get to be an adult, you realize like, oh, I didn't like when this happened to me. I shouldn't do it. But they do it anyway because they want to take out their pain and their rage at what happened to them on you. So that is true. I have a friend who's Portuguese. Her dad, I think, was born there, and they like moved here when he was a teenager, I think. So she's first generation American. That's the same experience for her grandparents who went to boarding school in Portugal, and they are indigenous Portuguese, have Celtic lineage, and also I think some of the Jewish people escaping persecution who migrated to Portugal, so some of that lineage as well. But like I said, my Bengali friend reported that like I know that that is something that is present in my country, and there's no way. And then you see in the South, a lot of this stuff is happening too. You know what I mean? And that is because of colonial culture, especially in my country, where a lot of people are descended from enslaved people who had been enslaved in transatlantic chattel slavery in the United States. There was a lot of perpetuation of that same kind of abuse that happened there. You know what I mean? And for me, I feel like, as somebody who has privilege in my country and is also half indigenous, like, my experience of that lineage is terrible. And so I have to stop it. It stops with me. You know what I mean? There's no excuse. I don't care what your excuse is. They're in the eyes of the Most High and in the eyes of the 𝗂𝗃, which is governed by Saturn, which is why this colony wants to demonize Saturn so badly. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you did it, because you knew better. At a certain point, you knew better, and you misused your free will to cause harm and to perpetuate subjugation of other lives of sentient beings. So that's what's happening, that collapse. And all of those people, every single person on this planet who is a sentient, conscious, sovereign being has had the opportunity to atone over the past 3 years. And if you haven't, good luck to you on the other side of this portal. Good luck to you. I'm now going to try a white truffle, my Pote. I love that. It's called this. I'm going to try one of these. I'm really looking forward to this. And then we're going to get into the energy work. It doesn't smell like it's very, like, truffly. I feel like usually when I open truffle chips, they're just like blast you in the face. But there's Japanese here, but the rest of the bag, I don't see any Japanese writing. So I made sure that this didn't have any dairy. Everything that I looked at, I made sure didn't have any dairy because I'm lactose intolerant. So everything that I've consumed thus far is vegan. But these chips, the state chips by 𝗂𝗽-𝗃, it doesn't have, from what I can tell, it doesn't have any meat in it either. It's just flavored like steak. So let's see. This is good. It's not great though. I feel like the truffle flavor is very, very subtle. And I prefer, like, really in your face. But I like it. I like that there's no added sugar, because you never know. And I am going to have a sip of this because I do feel like carbonated beverages help just get stuff out of my mouth. So then I'll be able to channel better. This has such a fresh flavor and, like, it's refreshing. It doesn't even feel like super sugary like how American sodas do. It's not heavy. That's a big part of it, I think. I feel like American sodas are just like super syrupy, and that is not at all. I really like that. But still, it has so much sugar that I would not regularly have it. Okay, let's get into this energy work now. Calling in my higher power, my higher self. So, Sekhmet will be coming through to dole out judgment in the times to come. Ma'at is activated here. Athena is activated here. I would suggest you to put your feet flat and just like really allow whatever you are sitting on or laying on to support you. Just like release into that as much as you can. Let your energy sink into the support of the earth. Become aware of your breathing. Don't try to control it, and follow along. I do feel like the breath is very shallow. Already, because I've relaxed my body, I want to just like breathe in deeply. So I definitely sense that more of you could be like relaxing more in this time. But I think that a lot of you are on edge because of what's been coming up, and it's been really scary. Connect with your community, your sacred community, not just like your low vibrational friends who like to like, you know, do you know, just like mundane things. Like connect with your spiritual community and hold each other through this time. Speak honestly about what's going on with you, and allow yourself to be heard and seen and witnessed, because that's going to clear out a lot of the energy as well. Like you need to speak it out. I'm like getting like I don't know if this is from the chips or not, but like I'm getting like phlegm in the throat chakra. So we're gonna go ahead and deepen our breathing, but we're going to do this breathing. We're gonna start by deepening our breathing, and then we're gonna go into vagus nerve breathing to help with the calming, to help clear out that dense energy. So with deep breathing, I want you to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, and you're gonna breathe all the way in, expanding the energy out of your body into the earth, and then breathe out your mouth with a whistling sound, all of that energy out into the earth as well. There's tension in the heart. There's tension in the heart chakra. The high heart chakra is activating, and that's why it is pushing out so you may identify as a Mintakan star seed, Andromedan star seed, but it's pushing out, you might be a Gemini as well, pushing out all this heavy density stuff that's on your heart that you have not been engaging with, because it has to go, it cannot stay. So that's a lot of what's happening, and we're grounding right now so that we can like stabilize while that's happening. If you're also experiencing insomnia, that is why, because these light codes are keeping you up, and if you're not grounding effectively, that is going to be a struggle for you. This is electricity, folks, electromagnetic universe. Lately, I haven't been grounding to the core of planet Earth. I've actually been grounding to a crystalline diamond core, and that is the core of the new Earth. So we're grounding to that. Picture that in your mind's eye, the crystalline heart of new Earth, which we did a lot of healing on back in October. You might also see mana here. You feel tingling in your body, that is normal. Let your body feel everything that it wants to. If you need to shake things out, things will be leaving through the vibration, so let it out. Some of you really need to relax your sphincter. Open that up to the core of this crystalline earth. I'm seeing a panda. I saw a triangle before. It's eating a stick of bamboo. I want you to breathe all the way into your skull. Relax your jaw. Ear chakras. Whales. Whale frequencies will help. Listen to them online. Gonna help balance you out and ground you. Did you know whales are descended from cats? Happy Lionsgate. Seeing a lapis lazuli. I'm seeing a pyramid. The pyramid is within you. What's been clearing are the Atlantean timelines of destruction. Generally, desecration. A lot of you are from priesthood bloodlines, and for that reason, some of you are from fallen bloodlines where you have diseases in your family because of these fallen priests and deities who betrayed their duty. So you came in from above them. You actually came in from above them to reset these bloodlines and activate this crystalline lineage once again, because there was an agenda to shut down our DNA and devolve us. And it is called descending down the mortal coil, and it is a form of losing rank. And some of you, it's like, why do my family members, I know that that they have a higher consciousness in this, why are they acting like this? It's because you're in that body, but you are of a higher consciousness than them, and you can get free because you're of a higher consciousness. They're stuck because you came to liberate them. It might not happen in this lifetime, but as we incarnate into new earth, they will have the opportunity, because we are bridging that new earth timeline. You might identify as a rainbow child, rainbow warrior. We've talked about this before in the Aetherium, the rainbow bridge. There are lives that I have on my Instagram, the Aetherium Instagram, that you're gonna wanna look at, as I talk about this a lot on there. There's throat chakra stuff coming out. You need to tell another individual what it is that you are hiding. Find a safe person and tell them, even if it is a Catholic priest, because you know that and you're not Catholic, because you know they can't go and tell anyone that. You know what I mean? Pressing this energy out through our feet. There's a lot of third eye manipulation that is going on right now. I really encourage you to be careful of what kind of media you're consuming. I'm seeing a star. They don't want you to project your star energy. Like I said, it's an inverted pentagram. They don't want you to be the star, but you're gonna be anyway. You always have been. Be very careful. I would encourage you to even take some time away from media. Past lives, which includes even past iterations of yourself in this incarnation, are descending now. This Aquarius energy is helping us. I want you to go ahead and take a spiritual bath or shower tonight. Salt water, wash all of this energy off of you. And you need to constantly be doing this because it is purging out of you. And if you're not spiritually cleansing, then it's just sitting on top of your skin, sitting on top of your energy. And it attracts that kind of energy back to you. So you be cleansing regularly at this time. I'm seeing a rainbow pillar. I'm seeing a white, like, pillar, but it's in the shape of a triangle. It's like that Pink Floyd prism. That's what I'm seeing. It reminds me of the fifth element. Your throat chakra is being higher tuned. You're coming into your powers. Where, like, a lot of us, especially, like, a lot of us have had our throat chakras destroyed through desecration of our autonomy. And those are being refined in the ear chakras as well. It's purging out all of that crap that we, like, have subconsciously come into through media. Shine a light on all of that stuff. Keep breathing. What you're perceiving as attacks are not necessarily attacks. It is that the entities that were deposited within you are fighting on their way out because they don't want to leave, but you just keep breathing through that. I'm going to do some light language to help with this. Applying some black pepper to the throat chakra. Invoking dragon flame. This is Atlantean stuff. 𝗂𝗪. Mayans, Aztecs. That's Stargate. The emerald tablets, those, all of this spell work is being removed. Arcturians. Some of the Arcturians those of us who incarnated into fallen bloodlines, your lineage might be fallen, but that doesn't mean that all of the lineage are fallen. And you came to clarify that. So we're gonna do some vagus breathing right now to wrap up this energy work section. And then we are going to get into the pick a card with 3 piles. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna breathe in for 4 counts. We're gonna hold at the top for 6. We're gonna hold at the top for 6 counts. And then we're going to exhale for 8 to 10, whatever works for you. So let's start. I will count. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now you're gonna go ahead and do that on your own for 3 to 4 breaths, 3 to 4 circuits or cycles. Some of you are descendants of the Nomo, Nommo. You might be descended from the Dogon tribe. If you're sub-Saharan African, this is much more likely for you, or of sub-Saharan African descent, which I am. And this is why it's important to learn about your heritage. And if you can afford, if you don't know what region or what your tribes are, don't just sit around complaining and feeling sorry for yourself. Go find out. If it really matters to you, invest in finding that information out. We're done with the sob stories. We're done with the feeling sorry for ourselves. We are proactive, self-sovereign agents of change in our lives. And that's just kind of how we have to, that's where we have to operate from. Okay, so before we go on, we're gonna try the 𝗂𝗍𝗍 steak chips. I hope that they're better than the white truffle my coach chips, because those were really disappointing. They're good. It's like a Cajun-y kind of vibe. It really does taste like steak, actually. There are some specific flavors that I'm really interested in. I think that there might be like an artificial smoke flavor. These are really good. But I think there's MSG in here. If you're not into MSG, that's what the flavor is. If you're not into MSG, you might not like it, but honestly, that has a flavor like Maggie cubes, which is the MSG flavor. That's so funny. But ethnic people, we love MSG. I really like this. This is really good. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to navigate doing both at the same time. I am going to edit it out, but I like multiple times I was just like, no, I can't. I can't do it because I was like, there's not going to be enough time, but there was, and it worked out perfectly. I got to try all of my little snacks. On the whole, they're all pretty good, but I don't think that I would personally buy the Pote again. I just don't think that it's really the white truffle premium. I don't think that it's very premium, if I'm being honest with you. Y'all see I'm shuffling. So yeah, I don't think I'd buy the Pote, if I'm being honest with you, because it's just not as powerful and impactful a white truffle flavor as I personally would like. So I'm gonna pass on those in the future, but I definitely like the 𝗂𝗽 ones, and I will be having those in the future. There's a fly in here, and you know what I say about flies. Oh, I think I said I was gonna put on like some sort of like music or something. I don't know, did I say that? I think I said I was gonna like put on some sort of audio, or at least maybe I thought that I wanted to, because I don't hear. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, for what we're letting go, we have illusions in the reverse. So I feel like we are coming out of this period of illusions, of being disabused and purged of the illusions. And I do feel actually that we are coming into our dream life, but that might not look necessarily like what you think that it should look like. Because simultaneously we're going to be experiencing the collapse of an empire, the Euro-American empire, as it is a continuation of these Atlantis paradigms, and ultimately the demonic shadow empire, right? So yeah, what's coming in for all of us is just this Ace of Wands, new energy, like new powers, new abilities, new gifts, and that looks like this. And I do feel like our chakras are being revitalized and renewed, and we are receiving a new root chakra, which is because we actually, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is something that I had been downloading. If you can go see for free, I think the final week of July, my newsletter for the mysteries, go see my notes from that. It's the second to last week of July. Go see my notes, because I have a bunch of notes from my book, my personal book of shadows, and this is what I'm talking about. The Earth Star chakra is now replaced with the high heart chakra. That's what has been going on. That's so amazing. That's so cool. I think that's really cool. Two of Cups on the bottom of the deck for how can we be of service to these changes that are coming in collectively. And the best way for us to be of service is to continue coming into union within ourselves and externally. The more that we accept ourselves, the more that we live in our authentic truth, the more that we are going to be, that's the more that we're in service to the collective, because we are the way showers, we are the light workers, we are guiding them out of the darkness, we are forging a path forward. You know, so I just want to encourage you to remember that that is what we are doing, and that it is your sacred duty to be of service in that way. That is like your primary function. If you're somebody who resonates with this, and like that's gonna look different to everybody, but it's like, wow, that pile has a lot in terms of what blessings are coming in. But in the reverse, the star, like you get to be, you don't have to engage with like all of these karmics anymore. None of us are gonna have to, because we chose to, like we're choosing not to. Like we've come into our power, okay? I think that I'll do an extra card. Actually, I wasn't gonna do this, but I think I'm going to do an extra card from the Lightworker Oracle. And I will post, I'll post about this so that you guys can like know what the readings from these cards are, because it comes with its own like little book lit. So I'm gonna save this for later, but altogether, Dark Angel. We are, you know, as much as we have been scapegoated and demonized, you know, who cares if evil people scapegoat and demonize us? They're sick and suffering, so frankly, like, I'm not really that concerned about what they think and what they have to say. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. Go ahead and decide which pile you want to go with. If you're gonna go with pile 1, if you're gonna go with pile 2, or if you're gonna go with pile 3. And let's get into it, shall we?